everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Pinky up. There you go.
I'm hydrating.
Fancy way.
And I don't drink a lot of water, so I don't drink too much. I don't drink as much water as I should. Sarah, I noticed last time I was editing,
8
Sarah.
glasses a day, they say, I think.
Every video that we shoot, you drink water at least once in the video. Like, I always notice when I'm editing.
Gotta keep hydrated.
You do. Okay, so we're getting today. We have not done a good old-fashioned Preath video in a minute.
Few minutes. It's been a few. Yep.
We, sometimes, Sarah and I sometimes talk about that. It's, we could make certain, we could speculate about other things, but sometimes we're like, no, we want to wait for them to do something. You know what I mean? Even though you still have to do your top 5 Preath moments. You haven't done that yet.
Oh my goodness.
You're gonna do it?
I'm just gonna go with yours. Yep,
No,
I agree.
she does not agree.
I agree with this.
So we like to wait till, something happens. Okay, so, but this week something major happened.
Major-ish?
No, I think it's very major.
Why?
Because
we'll find out.
So this is a very monumental time in the Preath fandom because Christen and Tobin, they do interviews. Actually, they don't do a lot of interviews specifically, but they are both part of. It's called the Stacey's Rise project, and it is
like Stacey's chips.
It's like the Stacey's peanut chips. I guess they're the ones who fund it.
Although they're a little too crunchy, a little too hard.
They're on the
soften
teeth.
them up.
Yeah.
So work on the formula room.
As for the project. Okay, it's a project called the Stacey's Rise project and will award 15 female entrepreneurs and give them $10,000 each, as well as advertising and executive mentorship from successful women, including U.S. Soccer World Cup champions Christen and Tobin.
Makes me wish we were entrepreneurs right now.
I know, right? We could say, hey,
but we're not.
We have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's entrepreneur-ish.
So from what I can gather is that Stacey's came to them knowing that they were business owners of Re Inc. and said, hey, you guys are female business entrepreneurs. You guys have been successful. You guys have, could share a lot. So they came to them and said, hey, will you be part of the project? And they said yes.
Stacey, sponsor us. We like your chips.
We love your chips.
We take back that crunchy comment.
Though. That's all the deal. So that's kind of how the Stacey's Rise project came to Tobin and Christen.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been doing interviews together.
Together, but not.
Yeah. Okay. So that's one of the good points. So we're gonna watch this interview. I'm putting my glasses. We're gonna watch this interview. They're talking to. I don't know who they're talking to. They're doing an interview. I'll put on the screen who they're talking. It's this one right there.
They're doing an interview.
They're doing an interview. Okay. And they're mostly talking about, being business owners of Re Inc.
Mm-hmm.
What they want to accomplish with this mentorship of these people who are going to win these women who are going to win this competition.
Right.
But the interviewer asked them, very broad questions too. How has the last 2 years changed your life? What is your greatest luxury? So we're not going to get into all the moments. We're going to do a couple moments that I thought were interesting.
Little hot moments. All right.
And
the video is 17 minutes long.
Whoa, and her number 17.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Quaking.
I know. So I know it's kind of like little things that happen. You're like, is it a coincidence or is it not a coincidence? So we're going to watch this video. But even before we get into the video, we're going to talk about kind of the setup. You guys are going to see the setup. But the first thing is Christen and Tobin are being interviewed together.
Okay.
But they're appearing as though, okay, how to say this? But they have the setup that they're in 2 completely different places.
Okay. Here's my thing on that.
Okay.
It could be like a Sue Bird Pinot thing where they were doing interviews in separate rooms.
Okay.
But thing is, we don't hear
each other. Yeah, that's a good point.
So maybe they have like an office somewhere in Portland or something.
And the way it's set up, you can obviously tell.
Probably not.
Yeah, no, maybe, yeah. You can obviously tell it's on a green screen because Tobin's nose kind of goes away a couple times. I mean, it's very green screeny.
Also, why the green screen?
I know. Yeah, exactly. There's maybe they're both in an office space, and if it looks too similar, that
speculation.
Yes, because we're gonna talk about
this.
We
know they're together because the Re Inc. they were eating together.
But based on this interview and another video we're gonna do of another interview, they are talking as if they don't interact on a daily basis. You know what I mean? That they're not living together, which is another thing we're going to talk about. The fact that we're going to talk about it kind of more in depth later, but kind of like they're not acknowledging anything at any time for anything.
Let's not push. Let's not press. Let's not Christen press.
We're going to press when we hear the interview, though.
Oh, too much speculation right here. Calm down. I'm just here to see an interview.
So they're appearing as though they're not together. So they're going to answer some questions. And there's one actually really funny part. And if you want to skip to that part, I'll leave it in the timestamps about Tobin talking about she wants someone to make her food.
Story of my life.
Like that's like her greatest luxury. And Christen, you can see Christen react, but not really react. So I'll put that timestamp if you just want to jump to that when we talk about that. But so let's get started in this interview. So this first moment we're going to watch is, the interviewer asks for like the last 2 years how things changed, but Tobin kind of mostly talks about during quarantine how things have changed. Kind of. I mean, we'll listen to that. And then after that, it's going to be how Christen's have changed. So Ready? Okay.
With all of this change that's been happening in your careers and in your lives,
background.
I know.
Maybe you could speak to how
I think they're both
changed
are, yeah.
for you on a personal level or on a professional level in the last year or in the last 2 years.
I feel like it's probably easier to say how it hasn't. So many things have changed. I feel like so many things continue to change. I think maybe everybody went through a brief period of, I want to go back to that, whatever was before. And maybe some people are still feeling like that. I feel like in order to kind of move forward, I really had to start thinking from the perspective of, okay, like that's gone. And what's in front of us now. And, for us with having Reinc, there's so much life. Having a young company is fun because it's so green. You can change so much, and I feel like really lucky because we have been able to kind of support our community, support the times during this time in a real way, and in a real way that is kind of set up for some big change. So I've really loved that part about our company. And for sport, it's, obviously extremely difficult in this time to understand what sports, are going to look like, what they look like now. And, for somebody that just absolutely loves sports and has made their whole life out of it, I think it's really challenging. But I think, putting aside, the wants and needs of myself, I think, in the greater sense of the world, we all have to come to a place where we feel safe and we feel comfortable in our environment, and specifically our work environment. So, I'm looking forward to that time that, public health and safety obviously is the main priority, and for everyone, to be taken care of in that way. But just really embracing, what's in front and the things that we can do in this moment now, and not, getting hung up with, what could have been or what we want to have happen. But just understanding that, life, is out of our control sometimes. And instead of, waiting for things to change, just really going out there and continuing to change things yourself.
I mean, they're going to ask Christen too in a second, but I mean, that's a very realistic kind of like, it's an answer saying, because a lot of people were saying when the quarantine started happening, I want it to come right now. I want things to come. I want it to be back to normal. And Christen kind of has the same answer as Tobin in a lot of ways, but it's kind of like not wanting something you don't have necessarily, which I think helps with your headspace.
Yeah, I agree.
And Tobin has such like a realistic answer, like a realistic view of life too, you know what I mean?
Real.
And how sports are gonna look. I really had a dream last night that I was at a baseball game and no one was wearing masks and everything was like fine. I'm thinking, this isn't right. And until things change, with vaccines or whatever, it's gonna look weird,
Wear masks.
Exactly. Okay, so now Christen's gonna answer that same exact question, and we'll see what she has to say.
Well said.
Like her glasses.
Yeah, how about you, Christen? How has your life changed or not changed in the last few years?
Yeah, personally, during this time,
Just like
I
a soothing
think
voice.
there was a moment where I wanted to pause and just wait and kind of see, how things were going to go. And I had to make a decision to really live during this time. And in the last, it's been like 3 months of a COVID world. And, I've talked about it with Tobin, I've talked about it with a lot of people in this company. It's like each day cannot be waiting for tomorrow to be better. It has to be like the best day today.
I like that.
And so I try to wake up now with this like refreshed present moment awareness that it's today is the day that we have, and we might be sheltering in place today. We might not be, having a game in soccer today, but like, what do we have and how do we make the most of that? And in that way, it's been a blessing for me, because I think, stepping out of this, I think that's the way you should live your life all the time. But we do I personally get so caught up in like my goals and my ambitions and like what's coming next, preparing for the Olympics. And so when those long-term goals are shaken, and taken away from you, it was really for me a restorative moment of like, okay, I need to come back to what this moment is. And as Tobin said, we've been really lucky to be able to really enjoy this time from on a business sense of being able to help and feel like powerful. And from a football perspective, I actually feel like it's an amazing time for growth. It's not easy to be, training and staying ready for this long period of time on your own. But what a challenge, what an opportunity to get better and to be your best self. And it really has shown me how much I love my job and how much I love what I do.
I mean, again,
she loves what she does.
Yeah, I mean, again, like she says, she doesn't wait until things are different, change. She's just saying making today the best day. Running the business, training when she can. It's hard, but not worrying about the future. I think that's how a lot of people get caught up, and maybe a lot of times people just get kind of down, is they wait for things in the future to happen instead of enjoying right now.
Present.
Yeah, because how many times do you hear, people say, "Oh my God, those were such good days 5 years ago," but I didn't appreciate what great days those were 5 years ago. You would think those are, the good old days, but the good old days you don't know when they're happening.
Right, yeah, until you look back.
Yeah, I honestly think in about 3 years, some of us are going to go back, oh, I wish we were quarantining. Nothing, we don't want a pandemic, but you get what I'm saying. Those times we got to spend for 3 months or whatever amount of time, literally just being able to be with ourselves and our loved ones. We're going to long for that in a couple years.
Right, when everything's crazy and hectic again. Normal life. But no, I've been making the best of quarantine.
We've been trying to stay productive. I think the key is being productive in what you can do. Maybe, if you wanted to read a book or something, or just whatever. But I like your answer.
Oh yeah, I just finished the book.
Love that. Okay, so the next question is going to be one of those questions where it talks about, indirectly, they're saying about their relationship, because the question is going to be, how is training affected? And Christen makes some interesting statements saying things like training alone. You know what I mean?
Well, there's some people who train alone.
That's true.
A lot of people train alone.
Okay.
And they don't train with
somebody else,
people or partners or whatever.
That's true. Okay, so let's see what she has to say about that.
How has your training been affected by the quarantines and by COVID in any way? I mean, it seems like it must have changed a little bit just for the lack of being able to leave your house at some points.
Yeah, there was a while where I couldn't get on a field. I had nowhere to train. But now I feel really lucky that I have a safe facility. And so the biggest difference is I'm training every day individually. And so I'm missing my teammates. So that's a big thing. But
Someone kind of laughed.
I feel that because the nature of our season has always been on season, off season, I'm actually quite prepared and quite practiced at training on my own. So it's not so different. I think the biggest difference is the goal setting. I usually am training for my next camp or for my next game, and now I'm just training for some news of when that might be.
Yeah.
How about you, Tobin?
Yeah, I think it was really humbling in the beginning when you were just like, I need a field, and people were just like, no, you can't have a field. Like, what do you mean? And I think that was really, really hard, but it was super humbling, really, really humbling, especially being a professional athlete when you're completely kind of taken care of, with your job and everything like that. And,
spoiled.
All of a sudden you're having to find these resources for yourself to, play soccer in the house, to find a small piece of grass where there's no people is actually,
parks are closed.
Extremely difficult.
Everything's
I kind of
closed.
wanted to go back to, growing up at my parents' house where, I had a beautiful backyard and a goal, and it kind of really brings you back to where you started, which in a lot of ways, for me, it just makes you super thankful for everything you've been given, as a professional athlete.
Bless.
You just kind of expect things, and you know, COVID kind of has taken away all expectations. So for me, that humbling part of, you know, redefining what training looks like. Obviously, we train by ourselves in small groups all the time. So that's not difficult. I think, like Christen said, not really having an idea of what's next, even like if you want to look far out to next summer, you know, that's still undecided as well. So like we kind of talked about in the beginning, it's just that present moment awareness and staying, like if you start thinking, you know, either too far forward or back, that, you know, your head would probably start going crazy, but just really staying in the moment, staying present, and understanding that there's a lot to get done in today, regardless of the situation.
Yeah. I mean, so we'll go back from what Christen said. The big thing I think she said was, you know, I'm not the big thing, but the kind of the key moment I heard was that she's training alone. You know, she's making it very clear to whoever's listening, you know, it's an alone situation, you know.
I don't think it was strategic.
You don't think okay. I think it was. Sarah think it wasn't. And that's okay. That's okay.
They do seem very strategic with their words.
Yes.
Too intellectual beings.
Almost like presidentially interviewed. You know what I mean? Like,
who trained them? Do you have media training?
Well, they're brilliant. I mean, Christen went to Stanford. She's a Stanford grad.
Nerd.
And Tobin is obviously very, very, very.
Where'd she go?
She went to North Carolina. I mean, she's brilliant too. You know what I mean?
Also a nerd.
They went to, you know, they're very intelligent people. So they're going to speak. You know, they're going to have purpose in what they say. They're always talking about having purpose in what they say.
I'm sure their grammar is good.
I know.
How's yours going?
Horrible. We all know that. So she says training alone. But she's just saying how, you know, things are different, training in groups, training alone. And what Tobin says was very, you know, we're all in the same boat, realistic. People are just not giving her field. It doesn't care if she's Tobin Heath. It's a pandemic. It's a court order. You cannot have this per court order. You're in shelter in place. You know, she says it kind of humbles you to say, oh yeah, I might be Tobin Heath, U.S. Women's National Champ, World Cup champion, but I can't train anywhere because there's a pandemic.
Oh, is that what you took from that?
Yeah, that it humbles her. And it makes her want to say, hey, everything's great, but almost like, oh, I want to just go back to my parents' house, go to my backyard. I had a big plot of land there. And the one thing I will say, Tobin she confirms lives in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon, since George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter have been having their protests. It's one of the cities that have really protested.
And have been continuously doing so. And
so that could be a factor.
There's unmarked vehicles that are taking people.
Yeah, you see that on TikTok. So Instagram. So that city is going through something even different than I think a lot of other cities where, you know, those kind of things come up where
they're hit pretty hard there with.
Yeah,
people
protesting what's right.
Yeah,
and you know the protests sometimes they have instigators in there that aren't part of Black Lives Matter. You know, so it's hard. So Portland, I know specifically, is very hard hit. You know, even because from what we know about where she lives too, it's an apartment. You know, luxury apartment. Even if you have grass outside, you really don't have your own grass.
Right. Yeah.
Like I know that Crashland have their own house where they have a yard, you know what I mean?
They can train, or
that actually sounds like
a gym or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That actually sounds like Pino and Seabird, where they were in Seabird's apartment in Connecticut. They lived in a condo apartment, so they didn't have any land, and then they had to go scout out land. But it's a time we've never been in, and who knows if we'll ever be in again. But
hopefully not.
I know. But okay, there's one last clip, and this is kind of like the sound bite. This is kind of the sound bite of the interview, because the interviewer asks both of them, what's your greatest or something about what would you want as your greatest luxury? And Tobin has an interesting answer. I'm focusing on Christen's face when Tobin is answering this question. So, okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
What to each of you is the greatest
luxury in life? Okay.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay.
I would love, I think quarantine has shown me more than anything that, like, I would love to just have somebody that cooked for me, like really good food. To have really good food that somebody's prepared all the time for you, I think would be like the greatest luxury in life.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
And somebody that
cleans up.
And Christen?
Yeah, I love that question because actually in the brand Looking Forward, we're actually
She's so serious about
we're
this.
actually discussing right now redefining luxury.
It's almost like food.
And
Yeah,
thinking a
that
bit less
food.
about like exclusive high-end products, but more as a state of self-love. And so thinking, you know, when we're thinking about our future product line, we're like, let's make everything like luscious, soft on the body, because when you put it on, it'll be a reminder that like luxury is you caring for yourself and you loving yourself. So that was a roundabout answer, but I do think that's a beautiful way to start to redefine the word.
Yeah.
I agree.
So obviously Tobin's answer was very interesting.
Okay.
Tobin wants someone to cook for her. So does that means one of two things? It either
I
means
don't think they cook.
I don't think they cook. Yeah.
I think they do like basic things.
Yeah.
And I wonder who's the better chef.
Yeah, I wonder who the better chef is. And I wonder, like, remember Christen had the whole who Postmates, and she goes, I caviar, which is a service like Postmates.
Mm-hmm.
And so they must usually do ordering food. Maybe they decided not to do that. But they must not cook. Which I guess if you're a professional athlete, you wouldn't necessarily need to cook. You would always have
But hey, you can have two trades.
That's true.
I'm trying to think who's an athlete that cooks.
And a cook.
There's athlete chefs out there.
Right. But it's almost like if people kind of speculate about the relationship and they know, Tobin and Christen know people speculate, then Tobin would know that, okay, well, if I say that, that makes me think that Christen isn't doing wifely cooking for...
Oh, come on. I don't think it was a dig.
No, not a dig. Okay, not a dig, but kind of like...
Too into it.
Kind of like how she's not... Usually there's one cooker. So we're going to talk about... Sarah's the cooker in our relationship. Yeah. Chef. There's one chef in the relationship. So like Sarah says, they both must not cook. And Tobin likes food, which is good. Because because like there's some people who think eating is a chore. Like Anderson Cooper says if he didn't have to eat, he would not eat. And
that
Sarah and I...
really hurts my soul.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like...
Food is life.
And it's good to know that Tobin says she wants good food because... Or food.
Yeah. Kristen's like, I don't need good food.
Or
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. That is a very interesting dynamic in that.
I bet
food
they eat
relationship.
oatmeal every morning.
They seem like the type.
Oatmeal.
Lots of
with
fruit and
some
veg.
Fruit and veg.
Yeah.
Like we have been cooking.
Okay, Sarah's the cook in our relationship.
Yes, I am the chef, and I'm Mexican.
You are.
Thanks. 100% right here. Okay, thank you. And so I've never, growing up, I didn't really like Mexican food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, now is the time, like, getting in touch with my Mexican roots.
Yeah.
Because I have been cooking so much Mexican food, and it tastes so good.
Yeah, and I love Mexican food, so.
It's our favorite.
It's my favorite.
I'm, like, loving it now. I've been making tacos.
Yeah.
Tacos dorados.
Yeah.
Made that.
Yeah. So so you're the cook. She's keeping me.
Yeah, and I love trying new recipes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And food and cooking gets me so excited.
Yeah.
Tobin, I will reach out and I will definitely cook you some things.
Yeah. Authentic Mexican.
You like
food.
Mexican food?
Yeah.
I can make it healthy.
Yeah, she can do Mexican food. She loves steak too. That's one thing we haven't had a lot of steak.
Oh my gosh, I haven't had that in forever, but I'm like, no.
No, I know because
We've been having chicken, ground turkey.
Yeah.
As our meats or proteins.
Chorizo.
Chorizo. We kind of splurged on some chorizo.
Love
What?
So what did you guys think of this interview? I thought it was very telling. I think, you know, and I think we're going to do another Preath video after this because they did another interview, but they're making a concerted effort to not have anyone speculating they're together during these interviews.
Yeah.
And I will
It's kind of funny.
And I will say that because they still do not want mixing business with pleasure. Because if they were to come out and say we're a couple, absolutely. So if they were to come out and say we're a couple, the interviewer then could say, how's it working with your significant other? The question could go toward the personal aspect. And they, based on these interviews we've been watching, they do not want that. That's what I've actually took from these other two interviews. They do not want...
You're intense.
I'm a Preathian. They do not want people to speculate right now, especially with, they want to be taken as serious businesswomen, which they don't want the thought of this is our personal relationship. They don't want distractions. Absolutely. Yeah. I used to think it's just because there's so many reasons I don't think they're going to come out as a couple, but based on these interviews, based on them being in separate places, they have no intention of making any type of statements about being in a relationship. They don't want that distraction at all. So what do you guys think? Questions, comments down below. This is and I love the way when Kristen says Tobin, and Tobin says Christen, because we don't hear that a lot either.
Yeah.
But questions, comments down below. We're gonna actually do another Preath video, and
don't forget to subscribe.
Don't
get quaked.
Okay. Questions, comments down below.
What's your favorite food?
What's your favorite food?
Comment down below.
Do you like Mexican food?
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.